Howdy folks, Stock here with Last Best Tool. In the AI world, there's an old concept from about 1950 called the Turing test, which was basically if you had a text-based conversation with a machine and a human and you couldn't reliably tell them apart, it was said to have passed the Turing test. So my question here is, if you've got a tool that you can't tell apart from between manufacturers, in this case Harbor Freight and Snap-on, what's the difference? So what I've got here is an Icon, Harbor Freight one, and a Snap-on one. So let's take a closer look at these before the reveal. But anyway, there they are. They both have really similar profile. There are some differences. I'll get to those in a moment. Here's the back side of these things. Here's the close-up of the profile. You can see there is a little bit of difference there. All right, the big reveal. First of all, I'm going to set them both down. Make a guess on your own between the two. Which one's the Harbor Freight, which one's the Snap-on, and see if you're right. So what's this guy here? This is the Icon. And what's this one? Of course, this is the Snap-on. This one sells for over $95 right now. This one sells for $19, under $20 right now. There's the front end. I'll show you these up close. You can see the Snap-on has a little bit smaller nut grabbing area, still aggressive teeth. The front end, really similar. You've got those three tiny little diamonds. They're a little clearer on the Snap-on. And then the big ones. And then the small ones again. Here's a big difference. If you look on the tip, the Snap-on, which is this one over here, is a little bit bigger. It's like they just lopped off the end of a needle nose here. That's the screw grabbing. Snap-on's a little bit smaller. Icon doesn't quite match up. Now that might be, if you look at this is one thing I noticed, is the handle collapses on itself, whereas the Snap-on doesn't. That's one difference there. The little spring mechanism is different on the Icon. It's kind of this uniform bend, whereas the Snap-on's got something a little bit more elaborate. Both of them are quite smooth. The handles, the Snap-on, I can get just a little bit more squeeze out of it than I can the Icon. Maybe see if there's an indentation with the fingernail there. Snap-on usually holds that for a bit. There's the finish work. Snap-on is right here. Icon is here. Get those to focus. The profiles are very similar up until that little smaller head, including that flat space here. Now, this says designed by Icon Tools in the USA, manufactured in Taiwan. So the Icon is Taiwanese. The Snap-on, of course, is USA. As far as the spring, I'm going to put something in the jaw here, just like that, on both of them. This is obviously subjective here. Whoops. And then I'm going to squeeze those. I'd have to say the Snap-on is just a hair stiffer than the Icon as far as springiness goes. If you look at this, I can go out and easily grab something that size and still hold this. Even though the Snap-on has a little bit smaller area there, it does open wide enough, and that's what I'm looking at. Can kind of see they're very similar once they're lined up. And part of that is, even though this is a little narrower, the Icon has a shallower depth on the edge of the nut grabbing area. You can see that there. Maybe this is a little bit better. So this has got a lot more meat on the snap-on side. So that makes that it's almost like a wash. This has got a bigger arc, if you see that. More aggressive arc, maybe, I don't know, a little bit. But it's got less area there, less volume beyond this little bit right here. Let me grab my screw test. So here is some screws to play with. This one is the snap-on. I'm just going to grab this little round head screw right here. No problem whatsoever. It's not the greatest grab, but it's certainly strong enough to wiggle that around. That one's recessed in there. Give it a shot. I don't know if I can't quite grab that one. How about this round head that's almost flush, or is flush? I push hard. It's popping off. Let's try the icon here first on this little rounded one there. That's almost stronger. Let's try it on this one. That's pretty strong. What about on this recessed one here? That's the same as the snap-on there. Just can't quite hold on to that one. Did I get that at all with the snap-on? I don't think I did. No. So those are about the same. Any other, you can see it easily grabs that snap-on and the icon. Very, very similar. If I crack these guys open and you look, little tiny bit of difference there. Get those in focus so you can see. Really close. Let me grab a Plier just to kind of compare with that. So here's a big Plier. So we can kind of see this is the icon here, but it almost doesn't matter. So there is a little difference in design. Anyway, overall, if I was using them, if I'm holding them in the hand, and I didn't have both to compare. That's the big thing. If you don't have both, how do you know which one you have? You know, if it doesn't have if I took the names off, you'd almost have to have both in order to tell, or look at the couple of differences that I've pointed out. But those could easily be changed. You know, a little bit different profile, I guess. The grip is, to me, the fastest, most obvious if you don't know which is which, and then that pinching point right here. I mean, you still could get pinched here, but this right here, as it closes, can prevent that tip from easily closing. You have to compress a little bit of the handle to get a total closure of the tip there. Not a big deal, but you can, if you listen, here's the snap-on, here's the icon. That's a difference right there. The drips, icon's a little bit bigger drip. In fact, it's kind of interesting if you look at the verticalness, get that in the camera if I can, of the drips, how this was held versus the snap-on. The snap-on was probably held vertically like this because those drips kind of go straight down, whereas the icons go at a bit of an angle. Just looking for differences. Overall, both good steel. The price difference, we're talking $20 to $95. So that, what is that? 4 3/4 more, 4.75 times as much. Is it worth getting it? Well, lifetime warranty, solid rivets. In fact, those two are about identical in size right there. They both seem to work. I was going to try the twisting. That's a little hard to do here. But I'm just twisting, trying to see if this plier goes out of alignment. I'll do that with another test here with another plier. No, both rock solid there. Honestly, goes to the Turing test. I bet you could put these in anyone's hands without the name, and if they didn't know the tiny differences to look for, and they could not tell the difference. I'm going to continue this, though, with a couple of others. Here is the flush cut plier. I'm going to compare that to the Snap-on, and of course I had to get this one as well. So I will do a pistol grip needle nose plier comparison with Snap-on. And Harbor Freight, if you're watching, here's a couple of things, you know, if you want some ideas. I really like this knife. I haven't found anything quite like it. So just saying. And this little tiny light is one of my favorites. If somebody makes something very similar to this little one, let me know. Not a bigger one. I've got bigger ones. I want little one, little tiny thing here, but there is some room for improvement, so have at it. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the pliers, and knowing that I'm going to head out on some other investigations with these, if there's particular tests or things you want me to look at. You know, I was probably going to pull out the microscope to compare edges and flush cuts here. Thought I'd start with this since it's obviously the, you know, the one that everyone's talking about. But overall, I don't know. Now time will tell. I could test, you know, solvents and things like that on the handles, but overall, I honestly, I can't tell them apart. And with that, Doc out.